we're going to go over how to calculate an average rate. We have our concentration versus time data from table 12.1 in the book. And we're going to do one of these calculations together. So you can see there are a whole lot of average rates calculated here. All these places where you have these little triangles showing you the delta NO2 or delta N2O5 over delta T. Let's look at this one. So we have delta NO2. This is the 300 to 400 second time interval. We can calculate the average rate of change of NO2 for this 300 to 400 second interval. You can see delta NO2 there is 0.0037 and that delta T is 100 seconds. So if we simply plug those in, then you can see that we get 3.7 times 10 to the minus 5 molar per second. It's a positive number because NO2 is a reactant. Now, if we come back to our table, you might have data in tabular form. That would be more common. So let's say we want to calculate the rate of change of N2O5 for the 0 to 100 second time interval. Let's look at that change. We're going to plug those numbers in. If we go back, you can see that these numbers, 0.0169 and 0.020, come from the table. There. So 0.0169 comes from the table, 0.020 comes from the table. So the change in N2O5 concentration, this is the final time, and 0.020 is the initial time. So it's final minus initial, and the denominator is delta T. So the final time is 100 seconds, the initial time is 0 seconds. So that's why those numbers are used. And that's going to be shown here next, right? This is the final concentration for the 0 to 100 second interval. This is the initial concentration for the same interval. And then, of course, the final time for that particular interval, and the initial time for that particular interval is here. And you plug those numbers in. We get a negative number in the numerator because this is a reactant. It should go down in concentration. So we end up getting a change in concentration over time of negative 3.1 times 10 to the minus 5 molar per second. Those are the typical units. I'm going to assume that our data points are accurate to the nearest second, although their significant figures are somewhat ambiguous.